Levels of solving equations. Within this video, we are going to review the different levels of solving equations. We're going to start with how to solve one-step equations. Then we will quickly review two-step equations, followed by solving equations where we need to use our knowledge of like terms, and then how to solve an equation if there are the variable on both sides. And lastly, the review of all of those will lead us to solving multi-step equations. So let's jump into the one-step. So a one-step equation is literally an equation you can solve in one step. So an example is x plus 2 equals 5. In order to get x alone, and that's our goal, we're going to subtract 2 from the left. That way x is by itself. But this is an equation, so because we subtracted 2 from the left, we must subtract 2 from the right. 5 minus 2 is 3, so x will equal 3. We also get one-step equations that are dealing with multiplying and dividing. For example, if we are told that x divided by 2 will equal 6, we will multiply both sides of the equation by 2. This will cancel the 2's, leaving 1x alone. 6 times 2 is 12, because I had to multiply both sides by 2 since it was an equation. A two-step equation is similar to a one-step equation in that the name tells us a lot. We're going to have to do 2 steps to solve for these. So let's use the example 2x minus 4 equals 10. In order to undo this equation and to solve for x, I need to ask myself what is happening to the variable. So if I were to plug in a number for x to try to solve for it, what would I do? Well, first, I would multiply by 2, and then I would subtract 4. That's what I would do according to PEMDAS. So I need to do the inverse or the opposite of each, but in the opposite direction. Think about putting on and taking off your shoes. So if the last thing I'm going to do is subtract 4, to undo that, I'm going to add 4. That's going to be my first step. And then I need to undo the multiplying 2 by dividing 2. That will be my second step. So if I apply those in that order, first I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Notice when I do that, it eliminates my minus 4, so that way all I have left is 2x. So I have 2x equals, I have to add 4 to the right as well since this is an equation. 10 plus 4 is 14. Next step says I need to divide by 2 in order to undo the multiplying by 2. If I divide the right by 2, I must also divide the left by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, leaving me with 1x on the left. 14 divided by 2 is 7, so x equals 7. This is one way to do a two-step equation. Another way I teach in my YouTube videos is by focusing on vocabulary. So let's solve the same equation that way. When we have a number being added or subtracted, that is a constant. And if there is a number being multiplied by a variable, that's called the coefficient. When solving, first you need to get rid of the constant. Okay, my constant is minus 4, so I'm going to add 4 in order to get rid of it. Do the opposite. Then I have to remove the coefficient. Same thing, I need to just do the opposite. Coefficient is a times 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. Let's do those 2 steps to solve for x. First, I need to remove the constant by adding 4. If I add 4 to one side, I must do it to the other because it's an equation. Negative 4 plus 4 cancels, so I only have 2x on the left. 10 plus 4 on the right is 14. My next step says to remove the coefficient by dividing by 2. If I divide the left by 2, I'm left with just 1x. But if I divide the right by 2, 14 divided by 2 is 7. And you can see that's the same answer we got over here. So either way, there's 2 steps to solving these equations. The next thing to review is when we have like terms in an equation. So let's use the example 2x plus 5 minus x equals 21. Before we start solving, we need to make sure all of our like terms have been combined. Notice that I have 2x here and a minus x over here. So I need to combine these like terms. I'm boxing the terms, including the sign with the term. And now I'm going to rewrite it. So I have 2x, and then I have minus x, and I still have my plus 5 equals 21. Well, 2x minus x is just 1x. So now I have x plus 5 equals 21. Now that I combine my like terms, I have a one-step equation here. I want to get x alone, so in order to cancel my positive 5, I'm going to subtract 5 from the left and subtract 5 from the right. So now I have x equals 16. The last skill to review before going back to multi-step equations is what happens when we get an equation where the variable is on both sides. So let me show you what that looks like. So let's use this example. 10x minus 3 equals 5x plus 2. Notice that I have a term with a variable on both sides of the equal sign. In order for me to combine like terms and then solve, I need to get both of the x's on the same side. So because I have a 10x over here on the left, 10x, I'm going to try to gather all of my terms with an x on the left side. So that means I want to basically move this 5x to the other side of my equation. So I want it to go away from the right side. In order to get rid of this 5x, I need to subtract 5x. So 5x minus 5x is 0. So all I have left on the right-hand side is 2. I got my equal sign still. But then because I subtracted 5x from the right, I'm going to have to subtract 5x from the left. So let's subtract 5x from the left as well. I'm going to subtract it from the 10x because they both have x's. I can combine those terms. If I have 10 x's and I subtract 5 of them, I'm left with only 5x. Bringing down my negative 3, I now have a two-step equation. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides in order to eliminate the constant. 2 plus 3 is 5. And now I have a one-step equation. This is my one-step equation. Notice how the levels go back down. In order to get rid of the 5 that's being multiplied by x, I'm going to divide by 5, canceling them, making 1x alone. And if I divided the left by 5, I need to divide the right as well. 5 divided by 5 is 1, giving me my answer of x equals 1. Now that we have reviewed each of the levels of solving equations, let's write out an example real quick. So remember, a one-step equation is going to look something like x plus 2 equals 5, or maybe x divided by 2 equals 6. These will only take one step to complete. A two-step equation will be something like 2x minus 4 equals 10, though that will take 2 steps to complete. Sometimes we'll have equations where we have like terms on one side. We have to first combine those like terms, like in the example of 2x plus 5 minus x equals 21. We need to combine those like terms first before we solve. And sometimes we may get equations in which we have terms with the same variable on both sides of our equation. We saw that in this example with 10x minus 3 plus equals 5x plus 2. We have a 10x on the left and a 5x on the right. We had them on both sides, and we practiced or reviewed how to solve that. When you're at the point where you are just solving multi-step equations, you're just combining all of your knowledge and your skill and your ability from all of these different types to have truly an infinite combination of types of equations that you may need to solve. But every time you get what's referred to as a multi-step equation, you are just combining the different types of equations we have reviewed together, following the order of operation in PEMDAS the entire time.